Hey guys, Oscar Combs here with the ISO 9001 group. In today's episode of the ISO show, we're going to talk about should you perform an inspection or should you be performing an acceptance test before you release your product to your customer? Is your organization releasing product by performing an inspection when you should probably be performing an acceptance test? What is the difference between performing an inspection and an acceptance test? Let's talk about it. We work with clients, and during one of those interactions, we were looking at a certificate of conformance with one of the clients, and they had made a statement in the certificate of conformance that they had refurbished the part or this component, and it had been inspected and that it meets OEM specifications. Okay, so then I just asked the question, well, what is that certificate of conformance? What is it based upon? When you make these statements, what are you basing that on? And the client said, well, we just do a final inspection. And we are stating in this certificate of conformance that we did the work to meet OEM specifications. So, okay, that sounds great. But then I asked, well, how do you verify that the component actually meets OEM specification? How do you know it's going to function per OEM specification? Well, then the client responded again that, well, we just do the final inspection. And so that didn't sit right with me. So I continued to dig a little bit further. And, this client was just hung up on that they did a final inspection. And then it became clear to me that, okay, this client may not understand the difference between an inspection and testing, acceptance testing. So I'm not really sure how deep this issue really is in the industry, but I've run across it several times working with multiple clients. And there are instances where I have seen where organizations are performing inspections when they probably should be performing testing. So here's a quick little personal story. If you guys have, if you are in the United States, you know that we have to get our cars inspected on a regular basis, once a year. I live in Texas, so we have to get our cars inspected once a year. So why do they require that? Well, they require it because they want to ensure that cars that are on the streets are safe, and they are protecting me, for one, the person driving the vehicle, and then they're protecting other people on the road. So we want to make sure we have safe cars on the roads. So I recently took my car to Jiffy Lube. Now, this is a little plug to Jiffy Lube. I normally take my car there to do my annual inspection so that I can also get my car re-registered as well. And the technician, the first thing that he did is that he got into my car and he drove my car, right? He tested my brakes, he drove it, tested my engine, make sure my car was functioning properly. Then he came back into the shop, he checked my fluids, he checked my filter, he checked my tire treads, checked to make sure my lights and everything was working, my horn was working. I mean, they then did what they call a pollution emissions test. So he did some testing. He couldn't just perform an inspection and pass my car. right? He couldn't just go visually look at everything, say, oh, okay, yeah, this car operates well, brakes are working, horn is working, by just inspecting it, looking at it. So he had to do some testing. So to me, it's very similar to what is going on in a lot of organizations today. Are we performing inspections when we should be performing testing in some cases? All right. So what is the difference between inspection and testing? So according to American Society for Quality, ASQ, an inspection is a verification activity. It's very key. It's a verification activity. For example, when we measure, we examine things, testing, gauging, these are ways to verify characteristics that, okay, yeah, if the OEM says it's supposed to be this diameter, yes, okay, I can verify that. So the OEM says it's supposed to be this thickness, okay, yes, I verified that. Right? That's quite different than saying that it functions properly, right? An acceptance test is functional verification. Inspection is a verification activity. An acceptance test is functional verification. Testing to ensure a part conforms to all the engineering, performance, and material requirements. So an inspection is simply verifying, measuring, examining. Could be some testing even when you are inspecting, gauging, so the verifying my oil levels, that's inspection. Measuring my tire tread thickness or depth. The emission tests, was my lights working? Was my horn working? Those are all kind of inspection activities. Now, an acceptance test was the part where he got into the car, he drove the car, he tested my brakes, right? You can't just do a visual or measure my brakes or a visual on the engine and making sure that that's all functioning properly. He had to get in the car, he had to fire it up and take it for a spin around the block. So acceptance testing typically involves some type of functional test under normal operating conditions. So think about whatever component or part or product that you are releasing. Are you testing it in the environment or condition that the end user would be using it in? All right, so when do we include acceptance testing versus just an inspection? Guys, in my opinion, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, of course, inspection, you should be doing inspection 100% of the time, right? Now, but when should we be doing acceptance testing in addition to inspection? I would say, as a general rule, anytime that we need to verify that the product or the component or the part is functioning properly, that is functioning per OEM specifications, that it's going to operate safely. So when determining inspection and testing requirements for your suppliers, guys, this is very important. When you're writing those specifications for your suppliers, you need to be very clear on, do you require inspections and testing? And if so, you need to write that out. We require inspection separately as one line item. And then secondly, we also require acceptance testing, the functional testing. And then you also need to specify what type of inspections you require and what type of functional or acceptance testing you require. I've seen this in many contracts. They just put it in there in a general way. Suppliers shall perform inspections and testing. That's not enough, guys. And you need to put in the criteria of the inspection, the inspection criteria, the testing criteria. So important. If it's still not clear to you when your organization should be performing inspections or acceptance testing, just ask yourself this question. Can someone get injured by using this? The end user. Think about the end user, that driver, that pilot, that person using that machine. Can they get injured or killed? If that answer is yes, you probably need to do acceptance testing, guys. And guess what? If you are the supplier and your customer didn't specify, what kind of inspection or testing is required, and they just put some kind of general statement, suppliers shall perform inspections and testing, I would encourage you to go back to your customer and say, okay, we see this in your contract. You require inspection, you require testing. Can you be more specific on what inspections you require? What is the inspection criteria? Can you be more specific on the functional testing that is required, if any? And what is the testing criteria? Guys, that can save your company a lot of money. It's going to decrease your legal liability in some cases, because if something happens, guess who they're coming back to? Your customer's coming back to you, and then you're going to have to defend your work. Why you didn't test it? Well, you guys didn't specify that we need to do it. That won't be enough. All right, so go back and get all that stuff clear before you start working, guys. Guys, let me know what does your organization do currently in regards to inspections and testing. Do you do both inspection and testing? Do you just do inspections? And how does your customer communicate those requirements to you? I'd be interested to know, or even I'd be interested to know your thoughts in regards to this topic of inspections and final inspections. Hey guys, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when we drop a new video. We ask that you like and you share this video. Believe me, people need to know and they want to know about this topic on final inspections versus testing. Hey guys, Oscar Combs here with the ISO 9001 group, helping organizations and people improve their operations and reduce their risk. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye now.